else I can remember?
What's that, dog?
Praise the Creator. The justice system was always against me.
It was always like
I mean, it seems I never really had a fair chance with the system.
Why is that?
I was always fighting for my freedom for something that I ain't do.
Word?
But now, I know who always had my back.
Who's that?
Praise the Most High.
Yo, what's up? What's up, social media? What's up, world? Really on a situation that took place almost like a year and a half ago. And, everybody that I reached out to, tried to get help and assistance and even counsel to no avail. I don't know if it's like a personal vendetta against me or something like that. But on September 29th, 2021, about 9 to 10:30 p.m., I was traveling with my nephew, Marquise, on 95, northbound, coming out of Chester, going into Philadelphia. So, we was traveling, and I noticed a Ford Explorer. I think it was black and gray in color, and the side read State Trooper on the side of the automobile, or should I say vehicle in their case, because they operate in commerce. And not to be confused with automobile, not for hire. So anyway, he pulled up on the left side of my private automobile conveyance, almost like stalking me and profiling. Almost like he had to make sure that it was me, Now, mind you, let's be clear of something. One, I had a body cam on. The body cam was recording the whole time. It was on my shoulder. It was mounted on a clip on my shoulder. The police cruiser drove up and back at me. Then they drove up to the left side of my auto conveyance. They drove up to the left side of my auto conveyance. It's almost like the passenger looked at me to make sure, oh yeah, that's him. Then they dropped back. They dropped back behind my auto conveyance. And I guess they wanted to notice the tags or something like that of my private, personal auto conveyance. Then once they noticed the tags, then they came back to the left side and sped up the road about maybe a mile up the road. And I seen them when they went and parked on the left side in between two safety cones. As I approached them, I also noticed that the brake lights were still on. So when I went by them, I look up in my rearview mirror, and what do I see? I see that the police, in other words, the state troopers that was in the SUV, they pulled out into traffic and came up behind me. And that's when they turned on their emergency lights. They blew emergency lights, in which it was no emergency, nor did they see me, about to commit a crime or being active in a crime. Nor for a fact, I know they didn't have certified warrant signed by a judge because they didn't present it to me. So let's get back on with the story. So once they did that, they pulled on the side of me. The passenger of the SUV cruiser, he rolled his window down, and at that time I was on the phone with 911, and I told him that I am being unlawfully pulled over and harassed. They stayed on the phone the whole time. But the passenger of the SUV state troopers police cruiser. Yeah, he when he put the window down, he had something dark in his hand. And I'm like, yo, told my nephew, that's not a taser, you know? And I said, are you threatening me? He said, yes, I am threatening you. Pull over. So I said, okay, I'm pulling over. And mind you, that was at the second time he came on the left side of my private auto conveyance. And because the first time he came on that side, he rolled his window down just to see who I was. And he told me to pull over. And I told him that the traffic is kind of heavy out here. I am going to the exit. And once I get to the exit, I will pull over once I get off the exit. And, you know, I had my hazards on. I was moving a little slower than the traffic in my lane. Let them know that I'm not speeding away or I'm not fleeing, you know, his so-called orders. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to make it safe, and I let him know what I was doing at the time. And he didn't think that was sufficient. So anyway, once he pointed that dark weapon at me and said that he was threatening me, I said, okay. I pull over to the side. I pull over the side, turn off the automobile. Its hazards still flashing. Roll down the windows. So there ain't no reason for him to think that he smelled anything coming from the auto conveyance. Because one, I don't get high. Two, I don't drink. You know what I mean? So you ain't going to find none of that in my automobile conveyance. So next thing you know, when it came over to my traveling side, the left side of my auto conveyance, I handed him my documentation. And when he and his partner took the documentation and looked at it, they came back to me and said, oh, all your paperwork is legit. He said, we still have to take your car. The vehicle got to be towed. And I said, for what? He said, because you didn't record, or should I say pledge, and there's no law nowhere on this continent, anywhere, or in contract that says you have to pledge your car to the state of any state. When he bought the paper back, he said, get out the car, step out the car. And I said, step out the car for what? He said, because your car is being towed. I said, please, give me a supervisor. And ironically, he said to me, he was like, oh, look, the supervisor just went by us. Wait, I just asked this man to get me a supervisor, and at the same time, in his breath, on his reply, he said, the supervisor, look, there you go, he just passing. Wait, so I didn't even get to request anybody. It was as almost like it was a setup. You tell me. So anyway, when the supervisor pulled up, he came over to my window. How you doing? And he said, he didn't speak back. He said, get out the car. I said, wait, I'm the one called you. I'm the one requested a supervisor. And he reached he reached to the handle of my door and opened the door and grabbed me by my arm and snatched me out the car. And once he snatched me out the car, then they gripped me up. The rest of the state troopers at this time was multiple state troopers and highway patrol officials out there. So they gripped me up, threw my chest up against my conveyance window and said, don't move. Stop resisting. I said, wait, I'm not moving or resisting. I said, y'all pushing me against the window. And, they put cuffs on me. They forced me to stand in front of the cruiser that stopped me. They forced me to stand in front of it. They had bright floodlights up top. They had high beams on down lower, and they had me stand in front of their police cruiser where I couldn't see. Excuse me. I couldn't see nothing but bright lights, and around the bright lights, it was all darkness. You know what I'm saying? So I'm handcuffed. At that time, I did not know that they was taking my nephew, Marquise. They put him in handcuffs, and they assigned someone to take him and drive him off the ramp, off the highway, to the bottom of the ramp and release him. So it appears to me that they got rid of my only witness that was on the scene. And from that time, they kept trying to escalate, And you know, I said, why am I in handcuffs if it's not an arrestable offense? If you tow my car and it's not an arrestable offense, why am I in handcuffs? I said, plus these handcuffs are excruciating pain to my wrist. Can you take them off me, or can you at least loosen them? So they did neither. At that time, they waited for Philadelphia Parking Authority to come up on the scene. And once they hooked my car up and took the car away, and then they put me in the back of their cruiser. Once they put me in the back of their cruiser, they took me and drove me to the bottom of the ramp and let me out, uncuffed me inside of a shopping plaza. And from that point on, I had to get my people to call the lift.
Thank you.
They called the lift, and me and my nephew got a ride to the
I got a card,
crib.
please. Let me look
So I'm going to keep y'all abreast of what's going on.
Please read this card.
And I did everything in my powers to try to solidify this with the state, with the Secretary of State, because I had a UCC1 financial filing on the auto conveyance. And also, I had sent a criminal complaint to the sheriff, and the sheriff told me, we the same as them. We don't, listen, you got to report that to the agency that did whatever to you, which is BS. They are public trustees. The sheriff was in breach of their trust, because the sheriff supposed to have took that complaint. Also got in touch with the internal affairs for the State Trooper Association. They had my documentation. No one called me back. I got in touch with the chief of the police because the highway patrol was there. They sent me a letter back and tried to intimidate me and say if I'm making any kind of false claims or whatnot, you know what I mean, then guess what? I can be arrested. But no one, to no avail. They did nothing about it. So then when I got in touch with an attorney, the attorney tried to tell me basically they couldn't help me. You know what I'm saying? The attorney couldn't help. So no one in law or that had the authority to deal with due process or the constitutional violations got involved. So now, throughout the research that I have did and the studying and trying to understand how this whole thing works, this is where I'm at, and I will keep y'all abreast. Stacey Bay, peace, y'all.
He set me free from my sin and hatred. Taught me how to spot the agents in the matrix. He set me free from my sin and hatred.